Okay, I have two band members from the UK band Sidious here with me tonight, ready to tell us all about the band and their new album, which will be released on March the 11th. Hi guys, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi there, I am Isfeth, I'm the vocalist from Sidious.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, I'm Indomitus, I'm the guitarist of Sidious.
Awesome. Great to have you here tonight on the show. So let's get into the band. So if you can start by telling us about the origins of Sidious.
Sure, absolutely. So Sidious, we formed in around 2012, and we've been playing, music, extreme metal for a number of years in different projects before that. But we came together because our vision was to, create music with, just uncompromising, ferocious will. And so it was around 2012 that we decided on the actual project of Sidious, the band of Sidious. Mm-hmm. And the name itself actually derives from the word insidious. So that usually means malicious intent, but in a subtle form. And our purpose was to create music with malicious music, but nothing subtle about it. So as I said, formed in 2012. Taste developed over time, and our collaboration with each other kind of steered us towards black metal as the genre, the main genre that we played. We started to work on a debut EP. And we released it in 2013 with Clobber Records, a French label, and then followed that up with a full-length album in 2014, Revealed in Profane Splendor, which was also released via Toxin. And we had a number of great reviews on that, which meant that we were going in the right direction, and we kept evolving as a band from that.
Yeah, awesome. That album gets played quite a lot on the show, by the way. The listeners like it. But my next question is going to be what you slightly touched on there, because you describe now as black metal, but of course you did start in the early days of Sidious as a symphonic death metal band. So tell us about that progression into black metal.
Yeah, I think it came around the same sort of time we stopped working with Toxin, so the label closed. I think not too long after we released Revealed in Profane Splendor. So moving into sort of a new era of the band, we'd felt that we'd kind of fulfilled that vision we had with the epic orchestral kind of thing, and we had a drive to sort of do something else, something a bit more savage, raw, emotive. Obviously, the music's always contained a lot of atmosphere, but we wanted to create that atmosphere, through our own instrumentals alone, rather than relying on backing track, for example, very elaborate compositions. Something that, quite specifically, we wanted to recreate it in the live setting. So it was what you hear on record is exactly what you get live, and it's all us. Something more genuine, and focused on that kind of raw atmosphere in that sense. So it was to say, it was never our intention initially to be, although it was coined symphonic black and death metal, that wasn't the kind of plan from the outset. It kind of just happened as a mashup of all our huge array of influences. I think previously, before we started Sidious, it was all about death metal. Lots of various death metal bands, and that's very heavily in the original Sidious music as well. So it's kind of just sort of happened in that way. But I think we got to that point where we kind of got what we wanted from that, and we wanted to experiment and sort of move around within the subgenre.
Yeah, that's interesting because, we can go back to the early days of heavy metal. There's so much in black metal, isn't there, that stems from those early days.
Absolutely. I think it's just, it's that testament to the diversity of the genre, or, the subgenre of black metal itself. It's such a wide spectrum of what you can do creatively. And I think the original mission, I guess, was the portrayal of the very dark, aggressive, way of writing, and that's been consistent throughout. But it's just, we've just really, it's been quite a drastic change actually from what we've done originally to where we are now. And I think the self-released album Temporal, which was what we released between finishing with Care Toxin and now joining with Clobber Records, this current release is where we kind of defined that change. And being a self-released record, it gave us that kind of room to just sort of experiment, kind of do whatever we wanted really, and just sort of see what happened, and we've kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. I mean, black metal, itself covers any genre you can think of now as subgenres, sub-subgenres. There's everything in there, progressive, groove, everything.
It's all in there.
Yeah, it's all in there. And I think it is a progression for black metal. It's not something that's easily played straight off, is it?
No. It's I think it's a genre where there's that, as I say, it's so diverse. But I think that's what draws so many people to it. And I feel that black metal is just generated a huge amount of popularity recently, because it's exploded in the sense that there's popping up of all of these subgenres. You've got your depressive, your atmospheric, your raw, your symphonic. It's all there, and it's just becoming, it's a word to use loosely, I guess, but it's just become accessible to a wider audience, I think. Yeah. Because of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've noticed a lot of death metal musicians, maybe now black metal, or they've got side projects that are black metal or raw black metal or something like that. They're all dipping into this black metal, which is awesome, because we love black metal.
We definitely do.
So these last couple of years, they've been trying times for all of us, really rough, and obviously we're coming out of it now, but what have you done to keep up your mental health and creativity, and any tips you can pass on to people for that?
It's a great question, actually.
Thank you.
So like you said, it's impacted on everyone, and negatively so. And I think I speak for everyone in the band when it's been extremely difficult for all of us to cope and remain resilient, especially when we're in the absence of the thing we want to do the most, which is write, record, play live, get up every day and do the thing that we love. And so both of us are key workers and work in healthcare, so we've had to deal with the pandemic in kind of one of the worst senses, I guess, being exposed to all of that. So experiencing things like poor mental health, depression at times. It is really, really important to kind of prioritize your own well-being, because personally speaking, if I hadn't prioritized that, then the creativity just wasn't there, it just wouldn't flow. So what we kind of did is, aside from leaning on one another for support, peer support, we continued to write music together despite the pandemic. We came together in any way we could, digitally, face to face when we could, just focused on pushing forward. So having that mindset, never once losing that mindset that Sidious is going to return to the stage. We're going to get this album out. We're going to do the thing that we love and be able to show people what we've been doing, release the music. So we would exercise regularly. I think most of us took up meditation. As I said, continue to write. So and create content. Also really, really important that we tried as much as possible to stay in touch with people within the music scene, other bands that we got good relationships with, because that kept us motivated as well, kept us on the right path. But in terms of tips, I go so far as to say that your mind is your own worst enemy, so you got to battle with that all the time. But don't do it alone, because a lot of the time everyone else is experiencing something similar, and work with others and get the support to kind of improve your mental health, your position, but also seek out the knowledge to do so. So, you know, a lot of the time we don't know how to do things. We kind of just stumble aimlessly in the dark around trying to figure it out. But you know, go to a reliable source to find out what it is that you really want to know about. So as I said, meditation really, really helped me to kind of keep my mind clear a lot of the time, going into, you know, healthcare, coming out, and then having to clear my head to sit down and pick up the guitar, and get into that creative headspace. It is really difficult, but you've got to force yourself to do it, and then you build up that habit gradually. And then I guess the next thing is prioritize self-discipline as well. So, you know, we'll probably touch on this a bit later, but we're bands that, you know, we like to pride ourselves on having will and determination. We support each other in doing so, but developing that self-discipline is absolutely vital to achieving the things you want to achieve, despite what you're having to face, despite the adversity. You know, so it's all about your mindset at the end of the day and remaining like resilient and continuing to strive towards that goal that you really, really want.
Yeah, that's an awesome tip there. Thank you very much for that, because I know a lot of people, they've either gone one way, which is the right way that you've just explained, you know, getting your health in order, exercising, meditating, whatever, being creative and helping others, or they've gone the other way, whereas, I don't care, become a couch potato, eating all the rubbish foods, putting on the weight, losing that mental stability, you know, that you need to get you through the day. And I, you know, I can see where people have been giving up.
Yeah. We're humans, you know, we're animals. It's normal for us to lose the habits that we had just as part of our normal routine. So, you know, the pandemic did that for everyone, I think. Yeah,
definitely.
I've got friends who, you know, have like disabilities, colleagues at work, things like that, and their life was completely turned upside down, you know, health inequalities left, right and centre. So like I said, it's so easy to be so adversely impacted by this, and I think everyone was, but you have to, you know, as much as possible remain resilient and see the opportunities in a different way and think, okay, so, you know, I'm sitting at home now because I can't go out, what can I do? Right, need to get in the right headspace to try and do the thing that, you know, I know that I'm passionate about, even when, you know, there might be times when I don't feel like I want to do it. It's like pick up the guitar, do it, and build that habit.
Yeah, because once you do that, once you start, everything falls into place, doesn't it? It's just getting up off of that couch and doing it, and you have to set yourself those goals. Yeah,
that should be a slogan, Karen. Should be a slogan: get up off of that couch and just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Nice one. Thank you for that. So, what does a day in your musical life look like?
Well, as I think as we all know, it's not been exactly what we'd want it to be the last few years. It's been quite limited in terms of what we can do. But I think, more recently, things getting slightly back to normal and building up to the release of the new album, we've been pretty busy, you know, whether it's photo shoots or we've just shot our first music video last weekend, which was great. That's going to come out, I think, around the time of the release. So we've been busy with doing that kind of thing, you know, awesome. meeting up with, you know, some great people in the scene, and you know, trying to create as much content as we can, sort of get back to doing what we love doing. I think, example really of, you know, how limiting it's been is, I think when we went to record this album, being at sort of, I think it was around December 2020, the height of when everything was, you know, so bad, we right up until the lead up of the recording, it was, you know, is it going to be cancelled? Any minute we're going to get that email from Russ, the producer, saying, you know, he's got the virus or someone else has got it. Or I think even, you know, what are we legally allowed to do at that point? Was it, you know, are you allowed to Are you allowed to meet up? Are you allowed to conduct your business as a recording studio, etc.? So it was all up in the air. But I think now we're getting back to some kind of normality where we're able to meet up, rehearse, and start pushing forward again, which is what we've been waiting for this whole time, really.
Dust off the cobwebs and into the recording studios, and I guess Exactly. It all feels like new again.
I mean, Steph was saying, it's when you're in that kind of situation, you can go one of two ways, and I think big part of it for us was we're more hungry for it than ever, because we've been denied the freedom, the ability to yes, we can write music, we've all got our little home setups, we can write stuff and bounce ideas back and forth, but it's never the same as actually meeting up as a band and running stuff in the practice room. And I think we just that was really a big part of it for us, is just we were so eager to get back to it that now we're there, we just want to it's pretty relentless at the moment, which is great.
Catching up on everything you haven't done, I know. So that's awesome. So tell us about your writing process. I mean, do you collaborate with others, or do you do it all yourselves?
For Sidious, so we've always taken the approach of writing the main bulk of the music ourselves. Isfeth and I will usually come up with the foundations of the songs. It may start from a riff or a lyrical passage, or we may kind of come up with complete skeletons of songs individually or collaboratively, and then Matt will bring his amazing expertise on the drums. Baros will bring his amazing expertise on the bass, and they will bring a lot of those kind of emotional elements into the music as well. So in terms of us as a core, as a unit, we will write the music ourselves. But then we will, depending on the producer that we work with, for example, for Temporal, we worked with Mastermind Deha, who's behind projects such as Slow, Involuminous, and he actually contributed to one of the tracks called At the Altar of the Horns. So there will be times when we do collaborate with other individuals, other musicians, but for the most part, in terms of the writing process, it will be the band predominantly. Looking at the recording process on top of that, there's a reason in which we love to go to producers that we have amazing relationships with. For example, Ross Russell is an integral part and person to our overall music and our overall sound and atmosphere. He will contribute a huge amount in the role of the producer to shape the sound, shape the mix. We'll give input on the songs themselves as the first kind of listener outside of the band. So we do really appreciate that level of feedback as well in those scenarios, specifically in terms of recording.
And what about the lyrics side?
So lyrics, I mean, I as the vocalist, I kind of take the lead on that. I mean, I've got the guys will chip in with their, if there's anything they particularly want to represent in the songs. But I think certainly for the new album, it's been very much sort of an individual thing for me. We are focused lyrically on the album. It's very much sort of based on Luciferianism, with elements of sort of satanic philosophy in there as well. So it's kind of linking back to what we were saying about your own mindset, the power of your individual will, and your own independence, and acknowledging the consequences of your own actions. And I think I've tried on this album to portray, it's very sort of a modern take on the Luciferianism. So it's the contrasting light and darkness. It's it's the above, the below, the independence and wisdom, and sort of veneration of the kind of mythological figure of Lucifer, which, as were depicted on the album cover, that's essentially what it is. The name Insurrection. This album's very much an uprising. It's our uprising after a period of being sort of incapacitated in what we can do. It's an album about enlightenment, power, and veneration of the archetypal power of the figure of Lucifer.
Awesome. Because what comes first? Is it always the music and then the lyrics come, or is it a whole thing?
It varies. I think mostly it's the music. I think we've had moving from the album Temporal, I've been taking vocals alone, so I'm not playing guitar live anymore, but both Indomitus and we write together, as he said. So there are times as the vocalist where I'll have a particular feel for a section, or a rhythm in mind that I'd like to bring to life, and it can, but it's I'd say more so than not, it's the music that comes first.
Awesome. So and we've touched on this just a bit, but if you can go into a bit more detail and what has been the inspiration. I mean, I know you talked about it's a rising, we've been locked down for so long, and now this has come out, but what has been the overall creative process and that behind the making of this new album, Blackest Insurrection?
I think it's very much we found that we had the kind of reinventing of the sound with Temporal, and it's an album where we feel that we finally fully realised that sound. The writing process was very natural. Nothing was forced. The hooks and riffs that are in there, it just kind of all came together. And it was, the inspiration was just to solidify our sound and our kind of mutual vision, which is to create that uncompromising, cold, aggressive black metal soaked in atmosphere, and with its roots firmly with the Luciferian and satanic philosophy. And I feel that that's exactly what we've achieved with this album. It feels like what we've done to date was all building to this, and this is a final realization of that. And I think that's why the name of it had to be Insurrection, or Blackest Insurrection in full.
Yeah.
Just to add to that we had more so with this album, we had a focus. We had that determination, that resilience, and so throughout the entire creative process, we were constantly thinking, okay, we've made this song, but what's it going to be like live? This song needs to sound live before we've even played it on stage. These songs need to be exactly heard on CD, how the listener's going to experience it when they come and see the band. So they can, they're going to have the same feeling. It's just going to be a lot more intense when, they see us perform as well, and they can be involved in that experience. So throughout the pandemic, we took the approach to really study our influences, not just lyrically, but for the purposes of music. So that may have been, musical influences, artistic influences, literature, things like that. But we took the approach to really understand, okay, what is it we love about all of these things? What makes us feel, this way when we're experiencing this, and how can this relate to what we're trying to achieve? So there was a real focus on not just kind of spontaneity with what we were creating, but what is the listener going to experience when they hear Blackest Insurrection? Are they going to feel what we're trying to get across to them? So there was that whole element to it, which I don't think we had done as much of in the releases leading up to this one. So it's very much an evolution in our creative process as well.
I mean, I must say, I love Blackest Insurrection. I mean, your title track there, we played it on the show a couple of weeks ago, and they were all loving it. They were like, wow, this is something else, that's full of great riffs, and the production is amazing. You just put it all together so well. I'm really looking forward to listening to a bit more soon, hopefully.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm so pleased that you say that. That's great to hear.
Good, yeah. Well, it's well deserved. So let's talk us through the artwork for this album. I know you've touched on it a little bit. This insurrection and who you chose for the artists on this cover.
Yeah, so it's as I said, the theme of the artwork or the depiction very much ties in with that. It's Blackest Insurrection. It's a violent uprising, the demonstration of the ultimate enlightenment, revealing of the inner God. That it's all based around that, and I think the artwork that was a big influence for us was things like looking at Gustave Doré's arts that would be featured in Paradise Lost, for example, Dante's Inferno. Very, very much kind of, it was imagery that just speaks the kind of language that the record is about. So with that in mind, I think it was actually on Instagram that we came across an artist called Artem Grigoriev, who runs a page called Black Typography. I'd been aware of him for a while. I think he'd done an album cover for the black metal band Deus Mortem. So I was aware of the artwork, but then sort of made the connection that it was this guy. Approached him, and it was, I think I sent him a huge bunch of Gustave Doré references, as well as Renaissance or Romantic era type artwork depicting epic battle scenes, anything that was like that symbolized that kind of epic uprising. And fortunately he liked the idea and agreed to work with us.
Awesome. Funny enough, I've just picked out a Deus Mortem CD. It was right next to me, and nice. I can see this is the oldie worldy writing. I can't read it now. Tracks. Oh my gosh. Soul of the World. I can't even see what Territor Productions. I don't know, but the artwork's very similar.
Yeah, Cosmocide was the album that he did the artwork for, which is a great album if you've not listened to it. That was where I'd always had that album, never not really looked into it, done it. I just always thought that's fucking great. And in doing the search, fortunately, came across the very guy. So he enlisted him to do our work.
Is the album you have there? Has it got the artwork of the man suspended a bit?
It's a moon and hang on, I'm trying to find it. I mean, let me just.
It might not be Emanations of the Black Light then.
It's not the latest one. It's the one before. The latest one. Cosmocide. Is it Cosmocide?
Cosmocide's from 2019.
19. Yes, it's Cosmocide.
Yeah.
It's the same artist, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Same
Thought
guy.
It was similar. Right. So that's great. Thanks for the information on the album artwork. So now the world is slowly recovering from these crazy times. Are you planning on any gigs to support the release of your album?
Yeah, absolutely. We are, as I said, as we've been talking about earlier, we are so excited and ready to support the release of the album. So currently we don't have any particular shows booked, but we are in talks with a number of kind of forces in the UK underground, making plans for some tours later on this year. So particularly looking at just covering the whole of the UK. So if I can just shout outs to some of the amazing UK acts that we've worked with and really want to work with again. So bands like the Infernal Sea, Necronautical, Trivax, Volnir, Abduction, the amazing bands, amazing individuals that we've had the privilege of not only sharing the stage but getting to know. So the plan is, and we will be returning to the stage this year, but the plan is to just be uncompromising in the amount of shows we're going to be playing in the next few years to support this release.
Yeah. So no dates as yet, or
no dates as yet. No, but
will be booked. They will be booked,
and we will definitely keep you updated.
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully I get to see you at a show. I haven't been out for years. It just seems like I'm in prison here. Oh, dear, like we all have.
Yeah.
So basically, how can people find out about your music? How can they buy it? How can they find out if you're doing any shows, any merch you've got? What's in the Sidious universe?
Yeah, so the album's currently up for pre-order via our new record label, which is Clobber Records. I think it's clobberrecords.com, if I'm correct. Sorry, guys, if I'm wrong. No, I'm right. So, yeah, you can pre-order it from them. Blackest Insurrection single is available for streaming now. And we, as a band, are on all the usual, social platforms. We've all got a Facebook, an Instagram, a YouTube, Bandcamp, etc. So keep an eye on all that for all the latest updates. As we've been told, the official release date is going to be the 11th of March. So there's going to be plenty of content coming between now and then.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep an eye on all the usual sort of suspects, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, because February, I don't know, January is such a long month, isn't it? And February, it's like it's nearly finished. It's like crazy. It's just blinking an eye, it's gone.
Yeah.
So soon will be your release date, which we're all really looking forward to. So is there anything else that you'd like to add here that we've not covered?
I think we'll just say thanks for having us on the show. It's been it's been nice to speak with you, and I think to everyone listening, if you like your black metal, fast, aggressive, cold and soaked in atmosphere, check us out. You won't be disappointed.
That's awesome. We're going to hear some new Sidious music now. So thanks very much, guys, for joining us, and we'll speak soon.
Cheers.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Cheers.